Last Saturday, I spoke with King Fanman on his weekly podcast known as the Kingcast. The topic was Fallout 76's The Pitt update. In that, we gave our thoughts on the update, and at that point, I had only played the Pitt on the PTS. A link to that video is in the description below, and I recommend watching that video as well. I purposely waited to play the Pitt in the live servers because I knew that it was not going to be any different from the PTS aside from a few bug fixes. I have played it since, and I was right. It is not any different. I have seen many people review the update, and there was a mixed bag of opinions when it came to people either liking it or hating it. Much of that was based purely on the fact that there were certain expectations that the Pitt either met or didn't meet with said reviewer. While I did give a good overview of my impressions while on the Kingcast, I did want to expand on my thoughts a bit, which is what I'm doing here. So let's get right to it. First, from a sheer world design aspect, the Pitt is beautiful. The world space for all of the various locations is perfectly designed, and there is a lot of environmental storytelling going on in each location. The bad part of the world space is due to the way they decided to implement this DLC. It was very limiting. Basically, the Pitt is an interior cell that looks like an exterior cell. Because of this, there are more invisible walls that prevent you from being able to fully explore each location. For example, in Union Dues, you first arrive in the exterior space with buildings that have what appears to be added structures to the tops of them, but you can only view them from the ground, as there are invisible walls that stop you from going high enough to get to the top. For someone like me, this is disappointing because I love to explore, and this is a missed opportunity to give us more lore as well. Now don't get me wrong, I do love the update. It is very fun and well worth playing. I just want to be transparent and give you the good and the bad for each point. Now, for what you can explore, there is a lot to look through, and you do get rewarded for doing so. The reward? Lore. There is actually quite a bit of lore to be found in each area, and some of it pertains to the story being told, and some of it is just added flavor lore. What I mean by that is that some lore has nothing to do with the story. The dialogue is also very interesting, even just listening to the NPCs speak when not being directly interacted with. There was some very good writing that took place for the Pitt. The Raider faction, known as the Fanatics, while they are Raiders, definitely speak differently from the other Raider factions. The Trogs were even given dialogue, and from a lore standpoint, it makes sense as to what they say. It makes you almost feel sorry for them. I will go into more detail on the Trogs in a future episode, so make sure you're subscribed for that. Now, while I do love the world space, there are some points where the layout can be a bit confusing. One of the biggest things that I would love for Bethesda to do is to give us a new map to view. Even if it is on the Pip-Boy, having a minimap would help tremendously with navigating. For example, the Foundry. I found myself constantly getting turned around and not knowing where I had already been, or if I had even missed a spot. If we had a mini-map to look at, like we did in past Fallouts, it would help solve that pain point. So, is the Pitt worth playing? Yes. If you like daily ops, then you're going to enjoy the Pitt. If you hate daily ops, I would suggest giving the Pitt a chance because a lot of the things that most people don't like about daily ops are not present in the Pitt. Give it a try. You might enjoy it. The truth is, the Pitt has something for everyone. There is a lot to do and a lot to explore. For those of you who might have listened to those YouTubers who were just spewing hate on the Pitt, I suggest you give it a chance. You might actually like it. I understand that it is not the story content that people were hoping it would be, but it does have story elements to it, and it is extremely replayable. So much so that you will have a different experience each time. One of the best features is the fact that you can literally stop at any point and continue playing from where you left off. It really does work. It's not a perfect feature, but it does what it needs to do. What I mean by that is that when you come back to it, you start back at the landing pad. Your progression is held, but you have to travel back to the exact spot where you stopped if you want continuity. I think that is the only drawback of the feature. Realistically, the Pit is probably the best update since the last Brotherhood update. Now that isn't saying much in my view, but I digress. Some would have you believe that the Pit sucks, and that there is a bunch of bugs and on and on. Guess what? That's all bullshit. The Pit is in good working order and it plays quite well. It is fun, action-packed, and there's much to see. Since the enemies scale to your level, it can be completed solo if you prefer to play alone. It's not easy, but you can do it. So, if you like exploration, story, combat, rewards, or even just squad-based events, the Pit is for you. What I'm saying is that the Pit is for everyone that finds enjoyment in playing Fallout 76, no matter what it is that brings you that enjoyment. My honest opinion about the Pit is that the update is overall good. On a scale of 1 to 10, I would place it at a solid 7, maybe even 8. If you have not given it a try yet, then please go try it for yourself. You might just like it too. Now I want to hear from you. Have you gone to the Pit yet? What did you think about it? Would you like to have a mini-map added in? Sound off in the comments below. While you're at it, like, subscribe, and share. As always, I'm just glad you stopped by, and I'll see you in the next one.